Hello, this is Deborah with Black Education TV. I'd like to say thanks to Alice Kaganu, one of our African contacts, who sends us things from time to time to look at. And what we received from her this time was just an email showing how they are pushing certain things in the mainstream Kenyan television. And she says, look at this rubbish currently being pushed on mainstream Kenyan TV nowadays. Of course, it's the film David and Goliath, the Ten Commandments, and a film about Samson. And it just kind of confirms the excerpts of the Whited Out documentary series that we uploaded recently to this channel. We have the full documentaries on the Watchman Reports channels, but it shows how the whiting out of so-called black culture has been taking place and continues to be pushed and promoted worldwide. Okay? Now, as the sister stated, that in Kenya now they are pushing these movies in mainstream Kenyan television. Now, what I've seen since the birth of the internet, we've been able to see so much. We're able to peer right into African culture. African culture is able to peer into African American culture. We're able to look into the cultures of black people around the world that has changed vastly from our original cultures because we have been put in the middle or in the midst of other cultures that are quite different from our culture. So we've adopted many different things, and who we are has disappeared, you see. But it's been helped, or aided, should I say, by what the mainstream media is pushing around the world. Now, the whiting out of black culture is a very real issue, okay? It's a very real problem. And many of our people are none the wiser. They don't care. I have certain videos that I've done years ago where I continue to see comments of people stating that color doesn't matter. Now, I get this from those who change the images into the likeness of their images. I get that from them. But when I see so-called black people saying, what difference does it make? His color doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color God is. It doesn't matter what color the people of the Bible are, as long as you are blah, blah, blah. Just whatever excuse to deny and reject and to piss on their own culture. We are the only people who disregard who we are because we are just so engrafted with nonsense. We are so filled with pollution from Western culture that we totally reject our own culture and say that it doesn't matter. Can you imagine a German person saying that German culture doesn't matter? Or an Asian person said it doesn't matter if he was Asian or not, as long as blah, blah, blah. We are the only people on the planet who will crap on our own heritage and say it doesn't matter. Everything in history matters. The truth is what history is. The truth happened in history. But you're being sold a lie and you're telling me that it doesn't matter. So when I see movies, I'm going to just be honest with you. When I see these movies, I can't stomach them any longer because I know that they are not true to real history. I remember I would watch old biblical movies and many of them would bring me to tears because I'm like this ignorant person who didn't know my own history. Didn't know that the people being depicted in these movies were actually not the right people. But they should have been people who looked more like myself or even darker. When I realized that what we are seeing is a complete snatching away of true history and a replacement of true history, it actually angered me. Because I think we have a right to know what happened in history. Our children have a right to know. And even those who have whited us out and replaced us with other people to represent who we are, I feel even with that they deserve to know the truth. Their children deserve to know the truth. Believe it or not, many of them do know the truth. They know that the people of certain regions were originally black, but they are okay. Many of them are okay with the lie. And so for us as a people, my African sister, Alice Kaganu, myself, many others around the world, we're actually getting a little irritated and fed up with the misinformation that's being spread because our children are being affected by it. Now, if your children live in a household where the truth is being taught, that's one thing. But in mass, most of our people don't even know themselves what the people of the Bible actually looks like. So this is why they will say it doesn't matter, and they'll teach their children that it don't matter. So from one generation to the next, miseducation is taking place. It started from the top with those who conquered us, those who ruled over us, those who swooped into our lands and brought us to their lands to be their slaves or whatever. And now we just pass it on down as a legacy. We take it all and we pass it on down. The truth needs to be heard. The truth will always be. The truth has already played out, is already past, right? And so it needs to be known today in its fullness. No one should feel hurt by what has already taken place in terms of true history. For people to be offended that the Israelites were actually black people, why are you offended by it? That's what they were born as. You were born as who you are. We were born as who we are. There is no hate in the Israelites being black. It is what it is, right? There is no hate in you being born what you are. It is what it is. As the scripture says, can the leopard change his spots? No. So we can't change who we are in terms of who we were born as or who we look like. But we can change our minds as it relates to lies that we've been fed and have received into our spirits. We need to start to reject the lies and present the truth and live thereby. The scripture says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Why do people get so uptight with the truth of what the people of the Bible actually look like? Of what Yahushua HaMashiach, the Messiah, the one who the world calls Jesus, why do people get offended by the truth of what he looks like? They want him to be any other color but a so-called black person. They'll call him olive or Arab or a darkly tanned white person, or they'll even just straight out lie and say he was white with blue eyes and blonde hair. I mean, for people to want to cleave to that which is not true is just totally confusing to me. I want to know the truth. When it was believed, a lot of our people who have come into the truth, when they believed that the Messiah was white, they loved him then. And now that they know the truth about his true identity, they love him now. You see? But you have those. We had a Gentile tell us, it was a white guy. It was a friend of my husband's who lives in the Philippines. Used to be married to a black woman. Now he's married to a Filipino woman. But he is a white guy. He told my husband that if the majority of white America actually knew the true identity of the Most High, God of heaven, as they call him, or Jesus, as they call him, and the 12 tribes of Israel, he said that if they really knew the true identity of these people were black, that they would become atheists. Now, this is what a white man said to us. This is what a white man said to us. As a matter of fact, this white man was very instrumental in helping us to understand the truth of who we are. Because we had been seeing from many different places, many different sources, people were saying it. We heard black people saying it. My husband's brother, more than 30 or 40 years, was saying it to the family and nobody accepted it. We heard people on the internet saying it. We heard various other people saying it. I remember when we lived in Michigan, we had some what they call so-called Hebrew people living down the street from us. And it was just one of those things that went in one ear and out the other. We ignored it. It wasn't important to us. And we started to hear more and more people, these white people, such as the guy from the Philippines I spoke of. He said that we were the original Israelites. We didn't accept it. We had 2 Jewish people say to us that we were the original Israelites, and we didn't accept it. We had other white people say to us that we were the original Israelites. We didn't accept it. And we just started hearing more and more people. And so we decided, look, we are going to investigate this, because now we're starting to see these black people on the internet saying the same thing, that we are the original Israelites. And so we said we need to check into this. I started checking into it, and voila, the truth is here. We accepted this truth and we understand it. We've been able to research it. And this is what we live by now. We live by the truth. But it's amazing to me how so many of our people reject the truth. I apologize for the phone ringing. I couldn't answer it, and I didn't want to stop the video, so just ignore it, please, for a moment. But so many of our people don't want to hear the truth because they see movies such as this that Sister Alice sent to me, and they look at those movies, and instead of questioning the movie, they question what you are saying and look at you as if you are the one who has lost your mind. That is how deeply embedded the deception is. The strong delusion is Christianity. Thanks again, Sister Alice, my African contact. We thank you so much for the stories that you submit, and all of my listeners who submit stories as well. Even if I don't get a chance to get to them, we thank everyone for sending us stories and taking the time to ask us at some time to cover a story or whatever. I thank you all so very much. We appreciate it. We love you all. And let's just stay alert, as Sister Yadina says all the time. Stay alert, family, because deception is swarming. It is swarming. And we have got to stay on top of our game so that we will not be deceived. And with that, I will say shalom.